Hey everybody, I'm Spencer from Pixel and Bracket, and in this video I'm going to show you how to create a flat designed cloud icon in Adobe Illustrator. Alright, so this is the graphic that we're going to be creating. It's this sort of flat designed cloud icon with a nice long shadow on a blue background. So to get started, let's go ahead and go up to File, New, and we're going to create a new document. It's going to be 1920 by 1080, that's in pixels of course, and the rest of this you can leave alone. I do like starting it in RGB color mode, however. So just click create and we're going to have ourselves a new document. From here, let's start, as always, with the background. We're going to create a rectangle. So that's just a shape with the rectangle tool, and that's shortcut key M for anybody wondering. I'm just going to click and drag and cover my entire canvas here. And this shape, if I check my transform option up here, it should be 1920 by 1080. And if you want to make sure it's dead center on your background, you can make sure that the align tools here is aligned to artboard, and you can click the middle of each. So this is horizontal and vertical align there. And once that's set, let's change the color of it here in the upper left, and let's just select this sort of sky blue color. And from there, I'm also going to get rid of any stroke that we have just by clicking this none color with a little slash through it. Alright, so I've got this background color set. That's great. Let's lock it in. To do that, go up to Object, down to Lock, and then you can lock selection. So whatever you have selected is what you can lock. The shortcut key for that is Command 2. That is something I use quite a bit. And then the shortcut key to unlock things is Shift Command 2. And on PC, that's Control. Anytime I say Command, it's Control on a PC. Anytime I say Option, that's Alt on a PC. So keep that in mind in case I forget to tell you later. Alright, so what we're going to do is build this thing out of shapes. I'm a big fan of building things out of shapes and using the shape builder tool to make them work. So I'm going to grab the ellipse tool over here. The shortcut key for that is L. And then I'm going to, you don't have to create them out of perfect circles, but in this case, I'm going to create this little cloud icon out of perfect circles. Let's go ahead and change the selection, or the fill up here, to white, and the stroke we can change to a black for now. And then the stroke width, let's do, I think on this type of a canvas, we're going to do something like 20 points. From here, we're going to draw our first circle. I'm going to hold Shift to keep that completely as a perfect circle, and then let go, and just kind of create a circle any size you want on your canvas. Now, I'm going to grab my selection tool. The shortcut key for that is V. And with this circle, I'm going to hold Option, that's Alt on PC, and I'm going to click and drag out while holding Shift. You see these little pink lines? Those are smart guides. You can turn them on in the view window up here. Command U is the shortcut key. I pretty much always have them on so that it helps me keep things in line with each other. I do, however, want to drag that circle completely straight across. Don't move it vertically yet, because these two circles are important that they're aligned together. It's going to help you give that even, perfect horizontal line at the bottom of the cloud shape. All right, so we've got the two circles. These are our two outside shapes. Now let's go ahead and duplicate again by holding Option, holding Shift, and dragging this circle over, maybe till it intersects with the side of itself, and I let go. So I've got 3 circles here, all the same size. Well, this center middle circle, let's go ahead and drag him up. So I'm going to sort of just hover over that middle top point and click and drag him up. Now make sure you hold Shift, or else you're going to get this like elongated oval shape. So if I hold Shift, it's going to create a nice big circle. And let's just make him, so this will be our medium sized circle. So those two on the sides are going to be small. This will be medium, maybe just a little bit taller than those two guys right in there. This is not an exact science, just so you know. All right, so let's switch back to that selection tool, and we're going to, well, we were already on it. You don't have to switch back to it. But we're going to duplicate this one more time. Let's create one more circle. I'm holding Shift to keep it aligned, and sure, we'll intersect right there. And from here, I do want to make this the biggest circle, so I'm going to hold Shift again to scale it up from that top point till, I don't know, let's give this a little bit more. Right in there. Cool. So what I want to do with all of these now is select them all. And then we're going to grab our shape builder tool. That's over here. It's got 2 circles in it and a little cursor icon. The shortcut key for that is Shift M. I've got a little plus icon on my cursor here, and as I sort of scroll over all these circles, it recognizes all the little shapes in here. That's fine. All we're going to do is click and drag all the way through everything. And I missed a few, so make sure you click through everything and make sure everything gets highlighted, and then let go. And that's going to merge all of those shapes together. This is pretty cool. You can already see that we're getting this little cloud shape, but the bottom of it, I mean, if you want the bottom of it to have those clouds, you can, but we're going to make this a little bit flatter. And we're going to use, you can see all these little anchor points here. We're going to use the bottom 2 anchor points of our outside circles. So what I want to do is just get rid of all these middle anchor points between those two. And I can grab the pen tool to do that pretty easily. And if I just hover over those anchor points and click, it's going to get rid of each of them. So if I just click through and get rid of each of those little anchor points, now we've got this nice cloud shape that rolls right into a straight horizontal line, allows us to create that nice long shadow underneath and sort of replicate that first shape that you saw that we are trying to create. All right, so I like this. I think this is pretty good. What I do want to do is get rid of the stroke. Let's just create a white fluffy cloud. That stroke did help us kind of see where all of our lines were, but we're just going to get rid of it for now. And I'm going to click on this guy again, and let's get him in the center of this artboard. To do that, once again, go to those alignment options, which are usually hanging out up here at the top. If you don't see them up there, you can go to Window, down to Align, and they'll probably pop out here to the side. But we're going to ignore that guy. Let's just use this one up here. I think it's handy dandy. All right, align to artboard. Perfect. Now I'm going to do the horizontal align and vertical align to put them right in the center of the artboard. Now, one thing with centering objects, the way this is sort of offset. So like if this was a perfect square, it would be exactly in the center visually and mathematically. While this is in the center mathematically because, you know, this bounding box, there's a little bit more like visual negative space up here, a little bit of white space, and I think to center this visually you might have to bump it up a little bit. So if you hold shift and hit your up arrow key, you can sort of bump that guy up, and I think that's a little bit more visually in the center because there's about equal negative space up here as there is down here. Alright, that's just a little design tip for you guys. Now let's create the long shadow underneath our cloud. To do that, we're going to copy paste this guy a couple times. And first, I'm going to show you the actual options. You go up to the edit, down to copy, and then go back up to edit, down to paste in front. So copy is Command C or Control C. Paste in front is Command F or Control F. So we're going to paste in front. Doesn't look like it did anything, but if I click and drag, yeah, we created a duplicate of the cloud. But we actually want 2 duplicates of the cloud, and because I already have that copied, all I have to do is hit Command F again, and now we've got like 3 clouds here. So you see 1, 2, 3, and then this one. So I'm going to undo that with Command Z and get them all centered up. Now what we want to do is take that top cloud, and we're just going to drag him off the canvas down here, about the angle that you would want that shadow to go. Now between these 2 clouds, so this next cloud, the middle one, and this guy, we're going to create a blend to create the shadow. And obviously a shadow is going to be like a dark shape, so let's select both of these by holding shift and clicking on each and change their fill to a black color. That's great. So let's just create a blend now. I still have these 2 guys selected, just these 2 guys. Go up to Object, down to Blend, and we're going to do Blend Options. And under Blend Options for spacing, let's specify a distance and do 1 pixel. That's going to create a cloud every 1 pixel between these 2 clouds. We're going to blend these 2 shapes together. And orientation-wise, you can keep it on this first one. Doesn't matter as much. I'm going to hit OK, and nothing happens because we just set up the blend. Now we got to make it. So go back up to Option, down to Blend, hit Make. And now we get our shadow. But our shadow is not much of a shadow yet. It's very just one solid black color. It's got all these clouds in between every 1 pixel. And it's created a group. So these 2 clouds, if I click off and don't have anything selected, and then I click back onto it, you see it's got both of those clouds selected with this blue line in between. And if I move one of them, it's going to move both of them. So Command Z to undo that. I want to keep this cloud centered on that other our original cloud. And what we want to do is double click into this group. And now we're inside of the blend. You can see, we have layer 1, which is where everything is at, and then we're inside the blend. That's our current isolated group. So now I can click on each of these individually. And what I want to do with this bottom cloud is actually go to like a complete transparency. So I'm going to grab my transparency panel over here on the right. If you don't see it, window, transparency, way down here. And once I get that open, I'm going to change the opacity to 0. And we'll hit enter to commit that change. Perfect. So at this point, you actually have the shadow. We're just probably going to want to take the transparency down, or the opacity down, on the entire blend a little bit. So I'm going to double click out here in the gray area to get out of my isolated group. I'm back to the center now, so I'm going to zoom out just a touch. And what I want to do is send this to the back. And to do that, I'm going to do Shift Command left bracket. That's also Shift Control left bracket on PC, and then you could just right click and go arrange, send it to back if you don't have those shortcut keys committed to memory yet. But that's how you do that. So I'm also going to send this background layer to the back, but we need to unlock it first. So don't forget that is, well, I don't know what it is. I think it's Command Shift 2. No, it's Command Option 2 to unlock everything. So that on a PC, that's going to be Control Alt 2. So that unlocks everything, and then we're going to send that to the back with Shift Command left bracket. I do like, that's some important ones I use all the time. The Shift Command left bracket, Shift Command right bracket, send to back, send to front. I would recommend memorizing those. All right, I think this shadow is a little too harsh, so let's take it down to something like, since I prepared this before, I know, 10%. I think I just want like a little bit of a shadow underneath that cloud. And that's cool. There's our shadow. But I don't see a whole lot of difference in the shadow going down here. So let's bring this cloud up. And I can do that by clicking. Now I've got that blend selected. I can double click on it, and I'm inside of that isolated blend grouped layer. And I can click on this cloud down here, and I can move him around. I can completely change my shadow around. So if you want to change the angle of your shadow later, you can do that. So I'm going to bring this cloud up a little bit closer and then double click out of that space. So now you can see the shadow sort of blends into the background now, because right in here we go to 0% transparency. So that's it. We've created a cloud icon. You can clip this into a circle shape if you wanted to, whichever way you want to use this guy. I hope this was easy enough to follow and you guys learned something. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.